Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the NIPR Diaspora Dialogue. Thank you so much for today. Can I how is not yourselves, please? Thank you. So welcome to the Diaspora Dialogue, the NIPR Diaspora Dialogue of Zone 7. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be starting very shortly. The Diaspora Dialogue is part of the Citizen Summit on National Integration and Peace and Security by the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations and its partners. And today we're hosting the Diaspora Dialogue as part of that. As the 2019 report of the African Polling Institute on Nigerian social cohesion highlighted, Nigeria is not a socially cohesive country, and more needs to be done by the government to promote oneness, trust, equity, inclusion, and hope for the future. The NIPR Diaspora Dialogue of today will bring together reputable diasporans as speakers and part of the audience to discuss and profess citizen-derived solution and action to re-energize our nationhood. This is our opening session today, and as part of this, I would like to recognize the fellows of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, as well as its members and the speakers joining us today. I would also like to welcome and thank the respectable members of the diaspora, including the distinguished ladies and gentlemen who are joining us today, and also welcome the members of the press. I would especially like to welcome some of our speakers today, including Malam Mukhtar Sirajo, who is the president and chairman of the NIPR Council, Dr. Neliaku, who is the National Planning Committee chairman, as well as Mr. Joe Ita, who is the Diaspora Relations Committee chairman of the NIPR. I hope that the Honorable Abiki Dabiri will also be able to join us as the NIDCOM chairwoman, actually. And without further ado, I would like to hopefully move on to the national anthem that we'll be playing before we start our discussions today. In the meantime, we'll also be sharing a link in the chat. You can share this link with your peers who haven't registered and who would still like to witness the conversations that will be taking place today. Thank you very much. I believe we're having some technical issues. Please bear with us just a few more minutes before we play the national anthem. You would think that after 2 years of COVID, technology would be on our side. I believe there's an issue with the sound. The sound's not playing. Thank you very much. So without further ado, I would like to move to our first speaker of the day, Mr. Joe Ita, who is the chairman of the Diaspora Relations Committee of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. He is currently the regional coordinator of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, of the South-South Regional Office. Before then, Mr. Ita was the head of the corporate communications of the same organization for over 20 years. And amongst that, he authored the bi-yearly international magazine of the NEPC tagged Export Nigeria for 15 years running. He is a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. He's also a council member and the past chairman of the Federal Capital Territory Abuja chapter of the NIPR. Mr. Etta has been a consummate public relations practitioner for over 30 years, and he'll be giving us the opening remarks of the Diaspora Dialogue today. Mr. Etta, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, the MC, or the moderator rather, Crystal. The President, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, who doubles as the Chairman of Council, Malam Mokhtar Siraju, the Chairman National Planning Committee of the NIPR 2022 Citizens Summit on Integration, Peace and Security, Dr. Nelly Aku, speakers on today's Diaspora Dialogue platform, the Chairman of NIPR, whom we are awaiting, fellows and members of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, other great brothers from diaspora who are here present, the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on whichever device you are. I'm greatly delighted to welcome you to this Diaspora Dialogue Zoom session, organized by NIPR, the first ever in the history of the Institute. This parley would not have come at a better time than now, when our great country is on the march to electing new democratic leaders by 2023. And NIPR, whose primary business centers around soldering relationships together, considers diasporans as very important partners on this mission. For us in NIPR, image and reputation is everything. It therefore remains sacrosanct, and we cannot do this all alone. It is in consideration of this socio-economic and political development of nations, and particularly the contributions you are making to your home country, Nigeria, that we came up with these novel engagements to further deepen those interventions. Hence our theme for the National Summit, Reopen the Conversation, Rebuild Trust. The NIPR National Summit will rely on your various ideas and suggestions as part of inputs for relevant authorities back home to evolve better leadership and governance for our dear country. I must admit that working as NIPR Diaspora Relations Committee, referred here to as Zone 7, is not an easy one, because it is a state without boundaries. So the glory goes to all of us who have partnered with us, who have rendered maximum cooperation, which has made today a reality. Without any intention to preempt the speakers, I know we will be treated to thought-provoking and exciting discourses around germane issues of mutual benefit to every Nigerian forum, and also provide practicable solutions, as we in NIPR intend to walk this talk and follow all issues to a logical conclusion over time, schedule, and plan. Ladies and gentlemen, due to the nature of this gathering and the platform so used, I plead that you all make efficient use of the various chat arms on the app that will be on display, trusting that the moderator, the speakers, and even NIPR officials will do justice to every question sent or even suggestions made. I will say that it's a pity that our interactions will be somehow limited, but we appreciate our teaming participants. Once more, let me recognize and welcome all speakers, believing that their various topics will adequately expose and demystify knotty issues within the subtitles in our two plenary sessions today. The first plenary session will be the complexity of Nigerian identity. Second, the road to economic recovery. We have carefully consulted our speakers, making sure that we have a perfect blend of youths and the elderly, and of course, businessmen and technocrats. I appreciate Mrs. Winifred for the great effort made to see these events through from all the way in France. My rapporteurs, Rachel Ayahu and Akanimo Joseph, I greet you. I see you all. Please work hard to give us a draft communique before we leave this meeting today. I thank Mr. President once more for giving me this opportunity to serve. I did not work alone. All the members of the Council of NIPR were on their toes that we see this Zone 7 come to a reality. It was not easy, but we are here because all the other zones, 1 to 6 within Nigeria, have done their bit. It's time for us to do our own. Ladies and gentlemen, please let the conversation flow. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ita, for these very inspiring first words. And I hope that we will rise to the expectations that you have set today with the conversation. I want to encourage everyone equally in the audience today to not be shy and to make their comments and be respectful of the speakers as well. But we welcome an open conversation, and we need to move from talking to doing. This is a solution-oriented conversation, and we warmly welcome any suggestions. Without further ado, I will move on to our next speaker of this opening session, Dr. Ike Neliaku, who is the chairman of the National Planning Committee. Dr. Neliaku is a resourceful professional with a wealth of experience over 30 years in public and private sectors, specializing in administration, development, communication, information management, leadership, and governance. He's a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, and he's also a fellow of the African Public Relations Association, the Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators, the Institute of Management Consultants, the Institute of Entrepreneurs, and he's a life member of the Society of International Development in Italy. He has served as special assistant for 5 successive ministers of information, culture, and national orientation for about a decade. And finally, he is the author of the book, 7 Conspiracies of Power. Dr. Neliaku, thank you so much for joining us today. We now turn to you to introduce the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations Summit, and you now have the floor.
Thank you very much, Crystal. Thank you, distinguished participants. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Madam Coordinator. Thank you very, very much, Mr. President, for providing the platform. I will run quickly because I know that I have so much that is expected of me within a very short time. The Nigerian Institute of Public Relations was established in 1963. I feel I should lay the background so that those who are not familiar with the Institute, we know who we are and what we do. Mr. Joe Ita has tried to lay the foundation, so I'll just brush through it. We are established by law of the Federation and chartered in 1990 through Decree number 16, now Cap N114, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria. Our basic mandate is to regulate the practice and profession of public relations in Nigeria. In other words, anybody who is not a member of the Institute, who is practicing PR, corporate affairs, anything related to that is quack as far as the law is concerned. Our core mandate is to foster understanding, promote mutual respect, build goodwill, create friendship, and strengthen relationships among different stakeholders in the society. This is actually where we are coming from. It is based on this mandate that we are now running the program that we have introduced to you this morning. What are the points of rationale and justification? Why are we doing what we are doing? I'll rush through this. As I said earlier, there is a loss of hope, essentially by the youth in our nationhood. Many of them are calling for all manner of opportunities. We've had the issue of NSAS and so on and so forth. They are looking for a reinvented nationhood where they will be proud of their citizen. They want to participate in leadership and governance. They need space but that space is not being given to them. So they seem to have lost hope in our nationhood. There is an increasing trust gap across the nation, regions and states. The inter and intra-ethnic groups that ought to be the strength of the nation are gradually falling apart. There is that trust across groups, across religion, across traditions, across the economy even. And then this is supported by elite conspiracy, which has become highly threatening to the health of the nation. The strength of a system lies in its component units. So if the component units are not together, then there is a challenge that our weak links and our fault lines will be exploited for what we have not bargained for. Number 4, citizens usually come together to provide solutions. And this is why we are calling on citizens at this time to rise to the occasion and partner with government, partner with other committed platforms to find a way to resolve the issue of our nationhood. Also, we talk about, I'm glad that when Crystal was introducing this, she talked about the Nigeria Social Cohesion Survey. This is 2029. Then there is 2020, the report remains the same. 2021, the report remains the same. So that problem has not been solved. And so long as a problem has not been solved, it keeps calling for solution. This is why we believe that it is time to do this. Every section of the country today has one grievance or the other against the other. And this is why we feel that we should bring citizens together to dialogue. Let's open the space again and have constructive dialogue. How do we get the various citizens together or various sections of the society to talk together if it is not to bring a credible, neutral, and trusted platform where they can come together and discuss these issues? Being that the core essence of public relations is to foster cohesion, as I have said earlier, promote understanding, build and mend relationships among stakeholders. We are called upon at a time like this to use that professional skill, which we have been endowed with. We have done this over a period of time at various levels. Now is the time to escalate it to the national level and see how we can bring our nation back from the brink. It's not going to be an easy thing, but it's a journey that has just started. What is the target? We want to mend relationships at the end of this summit, build trust. We want to reopen conversation across the nation. We want to create the new Nigerians that we build the new Nigeria. Everybody talks about the dream, the desire to have new Nigeria. But we have not taken note that new Nigeria will not emerge unless you have new Nigerians that will build new Nigeria. So we are hoping that with this summit, a process to build the new Nigerians that will build the new Nigeria has been opened. We want to activate a non-partisan process for national reconciliation and integration. We want to promote a new national communication culture and thrust based on mutual respect, love, and non-violence. We have become too violent in our communication processes, and we want to see how we can change this as a cultural thing. We want to create peace and security. We are relaying a foundation for the rebirth of Nigeria. So this is a profound process, and our target is something that we believe is not going to be a relay, but it is going to be a long distant race. This is why we have given ourselves a projected campaign target timeline of 10 years, because Mr. President has recognized the fact that it is not just about him, it is also not just about me, but it's about our nationhood. So we are giving ourselves a timeline of about 10 years within which to make significant change in our society. We are borrowing a leaf from what has been done in other countries. Malaysia did this at a critical time. Singapore did this at a critical time. And this is
We might be having some technical issues.
Sorry?
The line cut, so we couldn't hear what you just said. Could you just repeat kindly?
Okay. From what point? From what point?
Borrowing from Malaysia.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, I think that's fine. Thank you. Thank you very much. I said that we have had 6 dialogues out of the 7 dialogues that we are supposed to have before we come to the national. We had the first one in Kanu, which was for the Northwest in October 2021. We had the second one in Port Harcourt for the South-South, November 4. We had the third one in Jos, Northeast, November 18. We had the 5th one in Enugu for the Southeast on the 30th of November. And we had the 6th one in Lagos for the Southwest, December 2, 2021. And today we are having the diaspora that we consider the zone 7, very important zone, very, very important zone. And we're having it today. And thereafter, we now have the Citizens Summit for National Integration.
Dr. Lilia,
yes,
sorry.
please.
The line keeps being interrupted, and I have to ask you to wrap up your remarks, if I may.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. So we're having the last of this on the 23rd and 24th of August here in Abuja. The content of your report will be presented at the summit on the 23rd. So this is why this is very important to us. Thank you very much for the attention given to me, and I look forward to a wonderful time. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Dr. Niraku. We'll, of course, come back to you at the Q&A, and I want to encourage people in the audience who may have comments to start putting them. You could make use of the Q&A function, or you can make use of the chat as well. Thank you, Dr. Neriaku. I will go on to our next speaker, Chief Host Malam Mukhtar Sirajo, the President and Chairman of the Governing Council of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. Welcome, Mr. Sirajo. So Mukhtar Sirajo has worked in several newspapers before being invited by the then governor of Kaduna State to reorganize and head the media and public relations unit at the time. He then went on to serve 7 successive governors of the state as press secretary, director of press and public relations, senior special assistant to the governor on media and publicity, special advisor for media and public relations to the governor, and director general for media and publicity, amongst others. Upon leaving government services, Malam Sirajo was the CEO of Abmax Media and Communications Limited, a media and public relations consulting firm. And he was also the member of the governing council of the NIPR before being elected as president and chairman of the governing council of the Institute last year. He is also a fellow of the Institute. Malam Sirajo, thank you so much for being with us today. You now have the floor for your remarks. You're welcome.
Thank you. I don't know what brand of greeting I should do. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where we all are across the globe. Well, I think good day will suffice. Thank you, moderator, chairman of the Diaspora Committee, National Planning Committee chairman. I think the 2 previous speakers have done enough justice to the entire program that I don't think I need to waste your time going over this. But just to satisfy righteousness, like Dr. Neliaku has rightly pointed out, what the NIPR is. Of course, we were established by law to regulate the practice and profession of public relations in Nigeria. And as we all know that public relations is about relationship building and mending. Mark you, not fence mending. In public relations, we don't mend fences, we crush them because we don't like fences. Fences normally keep people away from seeing one and relating with one another. It is good a thing that we are doing the 7th in the series of our zonal dialogues. As Dr. Neliaku has said, we have had the 6 geopolitical zonal dialogues in Nigeria here, and we rightly and appropriately christened the diaspora community as the 7th zone. The experiences we had with the 6 zones was a situation in which each zone spoke about the aggregate opinion of the people of the particular zone that we had the program at. But the interesting thing about the diaspora dialogue, the diaspora Nigerians, is that it is the most pan-Nigerian geopolitical zone that we are talking to, that we are coming across at the moment, because it constitutes people from varied walks of life, from all the 6 geopolitical zones, so to say. And so we expect the engagement here to be more robust, more nationalistic, more pan-Nigerian, because the Nigerians in diaspora, I believe, are seeing things from a much broader perspective. And speaking of personal experiences, all of us that have had cause to interact with Nigerians in the diaspora, we see the level of exposure has made them to be a little more broad-minded, more objective, more brotherly or sisterly in the way they look at things. I had a personal experience in 2007 or 2008. I think I had a problem in Detroit in the United States, and the people that came to my assistance were Nigerians. As soon as they heard that a Nigerian brother was in trouble, they all gathered together. Nobody was interested about what part of the country I came from. Nobody was interested in what God I was serving. They all came and rallied around me until the problem is solved. And I think the most interesting of all the most interesting thing about it was that I think there was not a single Muslim among those who actually came to my assistance. And this is why I said the engagement with the diaspora community, I expect to be more robust and more broad-minded. We actually, like Dr. Neliaku said, decided to tread this path because we love this country and we have lived in this country and we believe that this country has seen better days. Our relationships as a people have seen better days. We grew up into a country that was one that was actually in which nobody was interested in the primordial nonsense that seems to be the trend, the vogue now. Nigeria that we grew up into, we made friends with people as we came across them as human beings, as Nigerians. We didn't want to know what part of the country they were from. We didn't know what tribes they belonged to. We didn't want to know what God they worshipped. It was a very, very beautiful life. It was a very, very beautiful relationship. And we believe that at the core of the problems that are bedeviling this country is actually the drop in the trust index of the country. We have spoken about the social the cohesion indices, which have continued to grow from bad to worse. And we felt that as reputation and relationship auditors, we needed to come together because number one, we possess the requisite communication skills, and we possess also the necessary neutrality, because governments at some points have tried to organize this talk shop, that talk shop, which have ended up producing nothing. I mean, all producing sound and fury. Sorry, I've forgotten my Shakespeare. Because the trust gap between the government and the governed have continued to widen. We believe that coming from our diverse backgrounds, both professionally, tribally, geopolitically, and what have you, people will tend to trust the fact that we are serious about what we want to do. We want to see how we can retrace our steps as a people ask ourselves the necessary, even if difficult questions as to where we got it, how did we get it wrong, bequeath a better society to the next generation than the one that we have inherited. One of the things that have actually bogged our minds is the fact that we have imprisoned ourselves into being perpetually nostalgic about yesterday. All the indices that you bring up, you begin to think and even believe, realistically so, that yesterday was always better. And we believe that progressive societies are built in such a way that every generation tries hard to ensure that they bequeath a better society than the one that they inherited. But every index you take about Nigeria, is it the educational sector, is it the economy, is it the agriculture, whatever sector you take a look at, you begin to reminisce about yesterday, how yesterday was better. So part of, we believe that part of it is the relationship breakdown, the breakdown in the relationships that have been allowed to occur, sometimes seemingly deliberately, because probably some people believe that it is the only way that they can continue to rule over us by holding us down. So NIPR is very, very desirous of making Nigeria retrace its steps and asking the question so that we can take up from where we stopped, so that we can restore the past glory of the country. In the course of our preparations for this summit, one interesting thing I want to tell you is that the surveys that we have undertaken have shown that majority of Nigerians are in love with the country. But there's a lot of frustration in the land. There's a lot of disenchantment. There's a lot of anger, not at the society, but at the fact that this country of ours has no business being where it is today. It ought to be somewhere up, competing with the best there is. Wherever we go to as a people, we find that Nigerians are excelling in all facets of lives in other countries. When we come back home, the story is different. Then there is a question, a fundamental question that we must ask ourselves and find an answer to. Even in the course of our interactions with people that we thought, I mean, from reading or watching them in the news, you would think there were people that had given up on this country. You talk to them and you see patriotism practically, literally oozing out of them, the love of the country. But of course, you can touch the anger too, you can touch the frustration. So all we need to do is to galvanize and that anger and turn it into a positive force that will make us restore the glory of our country. We have had a sit down with the Arewa Consultative Forum, with the leadership. We have had a sit down with the PANDEF, Niger Delta Forum under Chief Clark. We have had a sit down with the Middle Belt Forum. We have had a sit down with the Northern Elders Forum. We have had a sit down with the Ohanese and the Igbo. We have had a sit down with AfricaFora, Ayo Adebanjo, who was at his fiery but fatherly best. And one of the things we came out of from our discussions with them is the love that they have for this country. It was Adebanjo who told us point blank that nobody can be more Nigerian than him. But if you were reading from the account of others give about him, you think that this old man has given up on the country. No, he has not, but he is angry, rightfully so, because things that are supposed to be in place to make this country compete with the best have been allowed not to be there, even when they are there to be picked. So the idea for this Citizen Summit is to bring Nigerians together in an atmosphere in which we would speak to one another, not whole invectives and one another, because all we have been doing recently is sit down at our comfort zones, begin to haul invectives at one another. But what we want to do now is come together around the table, talk about our problems and how to explore ways through which that we can positively harness our diversity for the common good. One of the best things that God has given us as a people in this country, of course, the human resource is there, but our diversity is one asset that we have actually tried to turn into a cause. But we believe that if we are able to positively harness our diversity with each component unit of the country, bringing that diversity so that we harness it out of the many, we blend it and come up with one that will serve all of us, that will be better for us. So I'm not a presenter here. I am just here to welcome all of us, and I look forward to a very, very robust engagement. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Thank you so much, Malam Sirajo. Thank you so much for those. There might be a few comments that may come into you based on the comments that you've made. But without further ado, I want to welcome our last speaker, who will be speaking on behalf of Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa, who could not join us. This is Madam Abdul Rahman Balogun, who is the Director of Information and a member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. Madam Balogun, thank you so much for joining us today. You now have the floor.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. As you already announced, I'm here representing Right Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa, the Chairman CEO, Nigerian Diaspora Commission, who sent in her apology this morning. She's on her way to Rwanda as we speak, and has asked me to represent her here. So my regards to the national president of our institute, Malam Sirajo, the chairman of this wonderful program, that's Mr. Joe Ita, and other co-discussants. My chairman has been asked to talk on achieving greatness with the diaspora. That's the topic given to her, to talk on achieving greatness with the diaspora. Even though I will have some other comments in line with the team, which is a national integration. I now read the speech now. It brings me immense pleasure to be addressing you all on this auspicious occasion on this topic. The term diaspora has become a household name on every sector and corridor of internal and foreign governance. Many countries have gone beyond recognizing the diaspora as mere channels of foreign remittance that has changed agents in their respective countries of origin. Countries like the US, India, China are reaping the benefits of engaging this diaspora. Nigeria is no different. Boasting over 17 million people outside the shore, there's a lot to gain through our diaspora. How? This is what we'll be looking at soon. In March 2009, under the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua administration, you will recollect the Nigeria Good People, Great Nation slogan was created. This was done because it was believed the country needed some rebranding from the negative image it has gotten internationally, in particular. Ever since, more efforts have been made to minimize the bad reportage about the country. So how can we achieve this greatness? By engaging effectively and strategically with our diaspora. As earlier mentioned, our diaspora should not just be seen as people abroad sending money. They are strong mercenaries for national development. These individuals are trained in various expertise, which are viable in rebuilding our country to enviable heights. Not only that, they invest in different sectors of the economy, which creates healthy economic growth, creates job opportunities, and makes the Naira stronger. Coincidentally, these actions are part of the mandate given today by President Muhammadu Buhari at town hall meetings with Nigerian diaspora at a respective location. Anytime the president travels out, we make sure that he reach out to Nigerians there to have a town hall meeting, interact with them, they will discuss various challenges and what they have been doing to address those challenges. And this particular meeting is being coordinated by Nigerian Diaspora Commission under the able leadership of Right Honorable AfricaFora. This mandate given reminds them to be good ambassadors of the country, charges them to excel in whatever fields of endeavor, and encourages them to never forget Nigeria. Also, to show that the Nigerian government is fully committed to have a robust mutual relationship with the diaspora, set up the Nigerian Diaspora Commission in 2019 to harness the abundance of economic and human resources in the diaspora for national development. NIPR not only tasks itself in engaging the diaspora in the areas of investment, but it showcases the wealth of brilliant men and women from this country doing so well, breaking records in different ways abroad. It was therefore important to tell our stories and not leave it at the hands of foreign media entirely. In addition, whatever we do as a people can affect negatively or positively once we are outside of Nigeria. So to change the narrative, the Commission made a compendium called Plus 600 Diaspora Icons. This was to celebrate over 600 notable Nigerians in the diaspora to mark Nigeria's history of all ages from all walks of life, performing exploits internationally. More volumes are underway because Nigerians are doing wonderfully well in their respective fields. So this is not to say that there are no bad eggs in our midst. There are, but quite a decimal number compared to the huge number of Nigerians making the country proud. Another area is through communication. Usually the Commission has various platforms of reaching its diaspora via our NIPR website, the newsletter, the diaspora TV programs on NTA and channels. We equally have our own diaspora radio and so many other social media channels, as well as IB Summit, just as the one we are having now, a meeting at such as this interesting one. This is all in the bid to carry along our fellow citizens abroad and show to them that their sacrifices are not in vain. It will encourage the few creating bad names to desist and join the bandwagon of our nation promoters outside Nigeria. Just yesterday, the chairman, before leaving, addressed a gathering of youth on the team, JAPA, which simply means migration. And I say, well, migrating is your legitimate right, but you have to migrate legally, not irregularly, and then be contributing to the economy of the country. Again, this step will rewrite the reportage of our country, facing abroad and encourage foreign investment from investors who feel Nigeria is a viable place for business. It will also provide a win-win situation for everyone. At the end of the day, we Nigerians, home and the diaspora, are important actors to move Nigeria to the next level. Then talking about integration, Nigerian, because of our multiplicity, multi-religious, multi-ethnic, and multi-whatever here, and so we are there. You just listen to the testimony of my Honorable President, Sirajo, saying he had an issue elsewhere, and people rallied around him, not even asking whether it's a Muslim or it's from this, it's from that. So we are working towards that, and that has been achieving greatly. That Nigeria, wherever you are, you should see yourself as Nigerian. If anybody commits any crime outside the shore of the land, it's being referred to as a Nigerian, not as an Igbo or Hausa or Yoruba, but a Nigerian. And that is why anywhere we find ourselves, we relate with one another as Nigerian. Secondly, another major issue that is affecting the Nigerian diaspora is the issue of diaspora voting. As you are aware, the National Assembly, who has a constitutional right to pass its diaspora voting, it did not say true during the last constitutional amendment debate, but the struggle is still on. So we are using this opportunity to encourage the Nigerian diaspora to show more interest in it and support the NIPR, support some other NGOs that are on it. We have a Nigerian Voting Council that have been on this thing, doing advocacy for Nigerians to support, so that Nigerians in the diaspora, over 17 million of Nigerians, will be able to at least vote in 2023. But that, regrettably, is no longer feasible until when we now have another assembly, maybe from 2023, then the bill can still be represented. That's on the side of a hope that this thing is still feasible. So on this, I want to thank you for your time and for listening. Awaiting any further clarification on what we have just been presented. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you so much, Madam Balogun. I'm sure there will be some questions. We already have one question that has come in through the Q&A function. I want to encourage everyone in the audience, I see there are many of you, to make use of that function or to use the chat if there are any comments that you agree or disagree with so far in things that you may have heard. So I'm going to take the first question from the audience that has been put to me, and then there are some other questions that have come in privately. So first question from Uzoma from Luxembourg to all speakers of this session. How does NIPR foresee effective collaboration with the NIPR Diaspora Zone 7 to build back better, enhance and enable a generational social contract with our youth to build a society of trust where the poor and weak are secured and where the rich and strong are also secured? Maybe I can come to you, Mr. Ita, first with the question, and then I will and then I'll go to Dr. Neliaku, and then Malam Sirajo, you can answer, and then Malam Balogun. Mr. Ita, would you like to give it a go? Mr. Ita?
Yes, thank you very much. Uzoma from Luxembourg. I would like to know how we link up, collaborate with this zone, what has been set up to build better generational social contract with the youths. I say that it's not exactly the thing for this dialogue for the Zone 7. It is a task that NIPR has taken upon itself, and will do all that it can in terms of creating the avenues to communicate constantly, engage in whatever are the concerns of the youth, and bring these issues, silent issues, to the notice of the government. And we have the apparatus to engage. Most of us are in government. We also engage the different aspects to see that youths are carried along in every aspect of what is done. Maybe my fellow Neliaku would have something, one or two things to say on this.
Dr. Neliaku, please.
Thank you. You know, the good thing about public relations is that it is more of a science than an art. And that means that many of the things we do in PR are subject to investigation, research, and so on. We researched and discovered that it's important to take the views and opinions of those in the diaspora before we come into the actual execution. That is the essence of this. And we hope to harvest from all of you how you think.
Of course, so it's trying what kind of thing, 50-50. It's not possible for him to have it certain that he will not win. So because we think that, and now you want someone to step down for you.
Thank you. Dr. Neliaku, please go ahead. I'm sorry, okay. You went.
Thank you very much. So we will not simply assume that this is what we are going to do and this is how it should be done. The first strategy is to engage with the diaspora, to harvest your own views. This is about our country. This is about your engagement in what is going on in our country. But the platform that NIPR has offered is to do these things constructively from a non-governmental aspect, is a non-partisan approach to this. And we believe that everybody has a role to play. So we are open, that's what I would say. We are very open. Our president is here. He's standing on behalf of the governing council. I am here to support him, and other council members are on this platform to support what is going on. We need you to tell us how you want to be engaged. In one of the sessions that we
Dr. Neliaku, I think I lost you again. Could you repeat? You were saying in one of the sessions?
In one of the sessions that we had, somebody in the diaspora, during our pre-conference, somebody in the diaspora told us that we must allow the diasporans to construct their own narrative. So we said, okay, we are not going to influence your speakers. We are not going to influence how the program will go. Design it yourself, so long as power shift will not become power hijack. So we agreed. Therefore, we are waiting for you to now come up with how you want to be engaged, and then we can take it from here. So may I retransmit that question to Uzoma to say, Uzoma, how do you want NIPR to provide its platform so that those in the diaspora will be engaged in resolving the challenges of our nationhood and coming out with a solution that works for everybody? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Neliaku. And Uzoma, if you have any suggestions, I actually suggest that you put them in the chat so that we can react to them in real time. Madam Sirajo, can you please speak to the comments of Uzoma on Build Back Better, enhancing and enabling a generational social contract where both the weak and poor and the rich are strong and secured?
Well, I think nothing to say after what particularly Dr. Neliaku has just said. The deal with the Zone 7, the 7th geopolitical zone, was for them to come up with whatever it is they wanted to attain within the framework of the Citizens Summit that we are holding. So I believe, of course, I said earlier on, we are into relationship building. We might have had some relationship or the other with some individual members of the Nigerians in diaspora, but now NIPR institutionally is beginning to build a relationship with Nigerians in diaspora, and I believe it can only get better. But I believe that the ball is in the court of the Nigerians in diaspora now to, like Dr. Neliaku has asserted, come up with what they think we need to do going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Madam Balogun, would you have some additional comments you would like to make that your co-panelists may not have risen so far based on Uzoma's comments on Build Back?
Yes, thank you very much. For us in Nigerian Diaspora Commission, we already have a very solid public relations unit, which I'm the head. We equally have a diaspora relations department. We have a diaspora program department. We have a diaspora legal unit. All these are geared towards creating a public relation interaction between us in Nigeria and in the diaspora. And not only that, we equally have some programs that normally bring us together. For instance, by July 25, which has been declared as National Diaspora Day every year by the federal government. So we will announce all of them. They will come back home. We will have a National Diaspora Day, which is being planned now. By July 25, here in Abuja, we normally do that. By November, we also have a program for them, National Nigerian Diaspora Investment Summit. This for those of them who want to invest in one thing or the other, so that they will not be duped. We will pick them and then link them up with necessary area of interest. Also, we have a diaspora award. We have diaspora housing fair, housing scheme for those of them in the diaspora who want to build houses and this, so that all the money they've been sending home and people have been duping them, all that is a thing of the past. So Nigerian Diaspora Commission, we now have search for them. Of course, medical missions. A diaspora just left yesterday, and she's an Abian, came from the New York, and came to do some medical mission for our people here in Abia. So many other things that we have. Of course, you are aware of a repatriation of so many Nigerians who are in one trouble or the other back home. You remember our operation in South Africa, our operation in Russia-Ukrainian war, our operation in Saudi Arabia, our operation in Libya. Over 22,000 Nigerians have been repatriated back home safely in collaboration with other agencies, including IOM, and so on and so forth like that. So a lot of things for them. They just need to harness and link up with NIPR and NIPR. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam Banogu. So I think we've set the scene properly, and now we can go into the sessions that will hopefully bring forth recommendations that can then be put forward to linking the diaspora with the rest in terms of the Integration, Peace and Security Summit. Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Neliaku, Malam Sirajo, Malam Balogu, and Mr. Ita. Thank you for setting the scene of this conversation. It's been a rich opening, I believe, and I look forward for the rest. To the audience, thank you so much for bearing with us. We will now move into session 2, the complexity of Nigerian identity. Just stay with us 1 second and we will get started very soon. If you have any comments, please feel free to reach out to AfricaFora account or the staff account, and we're happy to help and assist you with any questions you may have. You can also find us on social media, and you can use the hashtag NIPR Diaspora Dialogue to engage in the conversation across social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and wherever you are.